Welcome, everybody, to the Competition Archery Media Podcast. I'm your host, PJ Reilly. Sitting with me is cam manager Josh Grine. Josh, hope you had a good weekend.
It's Monday morning, PJ. Here we are.
And today we got a special guest with us. We got Tony Tazza from Western Pennsylvania. Tony, thanks for being here.
Hey, PJ, thanks for having me on.
So, Tony, one of the things that we particularly wanted to talk to you about is you have a dual role. You're both a pro shooter and you have an archery pro shop. What's the pro shop world for you today?
Well, we've been closed for 2 weeks now. Governor Wolf put that notice out for all non-essential businesses to be closed. And we took that pretty seriously. I mean, me and my wife have been taking this whole thing very seriously with me having some respiratory issues.
Right.
Like you remember I had last year.
Yes.
So, we've been really trying to lay low, and the shop's been closed for 2 weeks, like I said. And I'm trying to keep in contact with my customers, primarily the ones that have bows on order, have bows that are there that haven't picked up yet. So it's been interesting.
On the flip side of that, your pro archery side, tournaments are being canceled. Are you able to practice? Are you practicing? Or are you just saying, I'm going to take a break from archery and just watch whatever that series is on Netflix about the guy with the tigers?
Yeah, right. Well, I'm fortunate enough. I have a little piece of property. I do have some 3D animals out there. And I do have an area that I can practice here at the house. And I have been doing a moderate amount of practicing. I don't want to overdo it.
Right.
Yeah, I've been judging quite a bit. I'm really not sure where my next tournament's going to be.
Yeah.
But I've been judging some Reinhardts, judging some Mackenzies, shooting my bow a little bit. Both my ASA and my IBO bows. So we found out about this sort of that weekend when it really went crazy. We were at the IBO Winter Nationals.
All right.
Down in North Carolina when they canceled all the sporting events. And, so we got that one in, but when we got home from that, I really haven't left the property.
Now, I should mention, you mentioned your respiratory issues. And for folks who may not have known it, I mean, it's incredible that we're talking to you and that your voice sounds as good as it does now, because a year ago at this time, you could barely talk.
Yeah. Yeah. If you remember, a year ago, you interviewed me at Foley. Well, I guess it would have been a little more than a year ago. You interviewed me at Foley, and I could barely make a sentence.
You're right.
I had a real bad case. I think it was bronchitis last year that caused me to lose my voice for about 2 months. And even when you interviewed me at Paris, I could barely speak.
Yeah.
And, under the circumstances at Paris, it was challenging for me to get words out.
Yes, that was a big win. But this wasn't something that just went away. I mean, you went to a speech therapist and everything. I mean, This was pretty serious.
Yeah, I ended up, after my speech therapy really didn't work, I went to a voice center in Pittsburgh, and that's a big part of the UPMC program that they finally did figure out what was wrong with my vocal cords and what caused the issues, and my voice is back about 85%.
Well, we're glad to be able to talk to you, because it's always fun talking archery with Tony Tazza.
Sure.
What's the archery zone look like? What do you offer there in the way of shooting ranges, target archery, bow hunting? I'm sure bow hunting is a big part of what you do.
Well, we don't have a 20-yard shooting range. The area that we're located is a really good retail area. So we have, I think it's about 2,000 square feet retail. We have about a 10-yard test and tune area that you can try your bows. We can tune them. We can do everything there that needs done. And we cater to a lot of target archery, of course. Bow hunting is our biggest part of a business. And actually, within the last 3 or 4 years, crossbows have become a big part of our business as well.
For sure. Yeah, I saw this year on the Pennsylvania statistics for the deer kill, bow hunters this year killed more bucks this year than they did all deer combined back in 2004 before crossbows were legal. So the crossbows are definitely popular and lots of people are using them, and especially in that part of Pennsylvania where you are outside
Yeah,
Pittsburgh.
yeah, yeah. It's becoming real popular. And actually, what's been real popular that I've seen is guys, they'll hunt with their vertical bows and they'll have a crossbow as sort of a backup. And
Right,
if they go out after Christmas, they don't want to bundle up with a bunch of clothes and try to shoot their bow, they'll take their crossbow.
right.
So a lot of guys have both tools in their toolbox, if you will.
That you shoot some of the indoor target series, we see at the Classic, Lancaster Archery Classic, and things like
Right.
that. If I were to pick a game for Tony Tazza, it's 3D. Is that what you consider your main game?
Yeah, PJ, I've cut my teeth. I mean, I started shooting sort of later in life. I didn't start shooting tournaments till I was 30.
Okay.
So, and I cut my teeth on the IBO circuit.
Yeah.
I don't think I've missed an IBO Triple Crown event since '96.
Oh wow. Okay.
So, I mean, I'm definitely a 3D shooter at heart, definitely an IBO shooter at heart. And so 3D archery is definitely what I love. ASA, I sort of, through my career, I pick and choose which ASAs I went to until I turned senior pro. And then I did the entire circuit.
Yeah.
And, so, no, the indoor shoots, I enjoy the indoor shoots. Um, it's hard to get to all of them. I used to really like the Atlantic City Classic, if you remember that.
Yes, I used to
Yeah,
shoot that way back.
yeah, and that's just, I mean, I would love to go to South Dakota and shoot it since it moved there, but I just can't fit that into the travel mix.
Now, in that senior pro division, I mean, the talent there is pretty stout already, but there's a couple of archers who are getting up there who will be joining you soon. What do you see for the future of the senior pro division?
Well, like you said, I mean, every year we get a new hot shot or two, and I mean, we got Darren Christianberry's coming on board this year.
Yeah,
We got Tim Gillingham last year, which he's definitely a force to be reckoned with. Michael Braden, he's always tough, and I mean, there's, you could name 15 or 20 other guys that are really good archers.
right.
But as our sport progresses, it does seem like all the stars of the early 2000s, they're turning my age, and they're coming up and joining us there. So
People like that. I mean, we always get good reception for the senior pro class. That's one that people like and lots of interaction with it. Why do you think people like the senior division?
well, I think they've known us for so long. I mean, heck, I've been doing this for 25 years.
Yeah,
I mean, all of the guys in the senior pro class, and our sport is getting older. The average age of archers is getting older every year.
right.
I think they just got a bond with us, and we've been around for so long. I mean, I remember Michael Braden back in the '90s when, I don't know if you've ever seen any pictures of him with his mullet.
I saw one recently. I like watching seniors. Well, I would be in that division. I'm of that age, but I like seeing guys breaking out the glasses or turning the binoculars around to see things.
Oh yeah,
Was it?
yeah. We all do. We're all doing that, and it was funny. I didn't really need them until I turned 50.
I've told people that before. I don't know what it is, but at 50, man, the wheels started coming off the cart.
Right.
Things started breaking. I was standing there with Jesse Broadwater at the last ASA, and he's pointing out arrow holes down on this target. And I'm like, man, I'm glad I can just see the target, let alone arrow holes and things like that.
You guys had already alluded to that Paris, Texas last year, but that was the 6th arrow with Tim shooting the 14, correct?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that place was electric. That was my first experience with that. What PJ talked about the senior class, and I mean the crowd was electric. They were watching, and you walked out at the beginning of that, and I'm fairly new to ASA and 3D archery, but you walked out, and I knew it was that's a Western PA guy. I mean, you just had it, and so you were instantly the one I threw my hat in for. Right. And I can relate to that guy. I mean, you fit the bill. You're Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania. I can say that because I'm from there.
Right.
And Tim drilled that 14, and man, the place went bonkers. And you stepped up, and when you won that tournament,
here comes Tazza.
I mean, it was Tim was fist bumping, waving, the crowd was yelling, and you just came up, and it was like you shot his hot air balloon. But it was so much fun. And thinking about ASAs last year, I don't know that I remember one that had that much excitement. What's that like? In that moment where Tim, huge name, smokes a 14, you're stepping up to win it. The crowd's going crazy. How's that feel?
Well, first of all, I can tell you when I got the Foley this year, I must have had 20 people come up and tell me about that. That they were still bringing that tournament up. That was the best shoot-off that they had seen all year last year.
Oh, yeah.
And I tend to agree with them because that was my favorite.
It worked for you.
And a lot of guys in my, they come to the shop and they say, how do you pull that off under that amount of stress?
Yeah.
And really the only thing I can, when I'm on that line, I guess I get a method of tunnel vision or something that I don't even realize what's going on around me. That, and you can't afford to think about other things like that when you're up there in that situation. The time goes so fast. I mean, it seems like you get started and you're 3 targets in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And, so when that came down, and really Tim had a big lead going into that tournament.
Right.
And he had some difficulties. There was a couple long shots there, and he didn't do so well on them, and enabled me to catch them. And I actually passed them on the 5th target. And which was a huge advantage to give me the last position because I could shoot after him. I mean, I could see what he does and then I could react to it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I knew when he stepped up to the line, I knew what he was going to do because we all know Tim. I mean, Tim is, putting in racing term, he is checkered or wrecker,
Yeah.
He's either going to win or he's going to crash trying to win. So when he stepped up to the line, I mean, I set my sight and I just knew that I was either, if he missed it, all I was going to need was a 10. But I had a pretty good idea he was going to go for it and hit it. And when he did, I just sort of went into my tunnel vision mode. And I mean, I heard the announcer say that I needed a 12 to tie or a 14 to win. Well, if you got to hit a bonus ring, you might as well hit the one that's going to win it.
Right.
And I could see that. I could see the arrow holes around that 14. And
so tie you weren't thinking tie at all?
No, not at all. I mean, I was either going to get second or I was going to get first. So, and I could see the 14 pretty well in my sight, and actually held on it pretty good till the shot fired. And when the shot fired, I knew it was a good shot, but the crowd didn't do anything. And I guess I was on the left side of it. And nobody really knew if it was in or not until they put the scorecard up. So
right.
And then the crowd went crazy again.
Oh yeah, that was a great moment last year.
Now, Tony, you're one, obviously everybody knows you with Hoyt. That's Tony Tazza, and you've been shooting Hoyt for a long time. You're one of the few who are still in the 3D pro circuit shooting Hoyt. What is it that feels right about the Hoyt bows to you?
Well, with my background and experience with Hoyt, it just feels like home. I mean, I've worked for them. I knew a lot more people at the factory than I do now. There's been a coming and going of employees out there. And I had some offers this year from some really good companies, and I tried some other equipment, and some of the other equipment pays a little better contingency and whatnot. But I mean, when I have that Hoyt in my hand, it's just like home. I really feel like I'm more competitive. Not that I couldn't get used to some of the other equipment out there, but I guess I'm just a Hoyt guy, and I'm probably always going to be a Hoyt guy.
Hey, nothing wrong with that for sure.
Yeah,
I just know,
yeah.
it just seems natural when you see Tony Tazza. There's going to be red and black there. Well, thanks for joining us, folks, for another episode of the Competition Archery Media Podcast. And Tony, we certainly appreciate your time today.
Hey, thank you guys, and everybody be safe. Take this thing seriously. I mean, we got to stay away from other people. We gotta be safe and stay home. It's the best thing we can do at this point, unfortunately. So be safe and God bless.